Every now and then, I like to visit a secondhand/vintage record store or a vinyl fair. It's always fun to dig through the LP crates, hoping to stumble upon something special. I do try to keep these visits to a minimum, though, because when you have an eclectic taste in music like I do, and can appreciate everything from ABBA to Zappa, it can get quite an expensive hobby. But once in a while, I treat myself to a day of crate digging. During these searches, these so-called quests for records, I always manage to find something musically worthwhile. And over the years, these discoveries have enriched and brightened up my ever-growing music collection. Sometimes I also come across some odd or curious items that are just too fun not to share with you, the viewers. That's why I created this series called Look What I Found here on the channel. All right, let's take a quick look at what I've found this time. Hello, and welcome to a new episode of We're Only in It for the Music, a brand new YouTube series that takes you on a musical journey through videos about pop, rock, jazz, blues, soul, and funk. In other words, from ABBA to Zappa and everything in between. If you're enjoying this series, don't forget to click like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll always be the first to know when a new episode drops. But enough of that. Never mind the bollocks, we're only in it for the music. We're living through the roaring 20s again, and unfortunately, these turbulent times also come with the relentless loss of many music icons. If I were to make a tribute video for every beloved artist who passed away recently, I could probably release a new video every week. But unfortunately, I'm also bound by time and a publishing schedule. Still, I try, whenever possible, to honor the artists we've lost with themed videos in which I can give them a worthy salute. A video about Ozzy Osbourne is already in the queue, aiming to highlight his legacy through the first 4 Black Sabbath albums. But today, I want to focus on another musical giant we've recently lost. In the same week that Ozzy passed away, news broke that Golden Earring guitarist and singer George Kooymans had lost his battle with ALS. I've been a lifelong fan of the earring, and Kooymans' passing leaves a huge void in the music world. That's why I'd love to share with you a very special Golden Earring discovery. An LP with a remarkable story. And of course, a well-deserved tribute to George Kooymans. Underrated at times, in my opinion, but without a doubt one of the greatest guitarists of the past 60 years. So this one's for you, George.
On guitar, crazy vocal, the one and only Mr. George Kooymans.
If you ever visit record fairs or secondhand vinyl shops, chances are, at least in my case, you'll always come home with something nice. Film director Wim Wenders once gave us the best advice of all time. My advice is, don't spend money on therapy. Spend it in a record store. You could say I've taken Wenders' advice very much to heart, and over the years I've spent quite a few bucks on black gold, also known as vinyl. A few years ago, I visited a fair in my hometown. It was a rainy day, and the stall holders were struggling to keep their booths dry. People were busy bailing water off the canopy roofs to keep customers and records from getting soaked. At one of the stands, I found the album Contraband by Golden Earring. While some people might only know the band for their biggest international hits like Radar Love, Twilight Zone, or When the Lady Smiles, true fans will wholeheartedly agree with me. Over the course of more than 60 years, the Earring have built an impressive body of work full of hidden gems. Contraband, released in December 1976, sits sandwiched in their discography between To the Hilt, from January 1976, and the now iconic live double album compiled from shows in London during the Contraband tour. This album is notable for some lineup changes. Keyboard virtuoso Robert Jan Stips, known for his work in bands like Super Sister and later the Knits, left the band after completing the experimental To the Hilt album. He was replaced by former QB and the Blizzard's guitar prodigy Ilko Gelling. Additionally, background vocals were handled by Patricia Pai. What you're witnessing here is a piece of Dutch pop history. Also worth mentioning, The mixing engineer was none other than Steve Lillywhite, known for his work with U2, Talking Heads, Peter Gabriel, Dave Matthews Band, and Counting Crows. With tracks like Bombay and Mad Love's Comin', Contraband features a few excellent evergreens. It's a highly underrated record with a lot of strong material. It rarely appears in top 10 lists, but it's definitely worth your time. As I said, I bought the LP at a small fair for a very modest price. Most Earring albums are quite easy to find. And since the quality of this band from The Hague is generally so consistent, you're rarely taking a risk, even when you buy an album you're not that familiar with. Due to the ongoing rain, I headed home pretty quickly. After all, it was perfect weather to spin records. Once back home, I pulled the LP from its sleeve and noticed something odd. I always check secondhand vinyl visually to assess its condition. If there are too many scratches on the record, I'll leave it behind. This Contraband LP looked just fine, so I decided in a split second to buy it. The label showed it was a German pressing on Polydor Records. No problem. The band sings in English anyway and not in German. But on side A of the label, I read, Herzliche Grüße aus Bayern von Maria Hellwig. I scratched my head. Had I accidentally bought a German Schlager album? My God, what have I done?
My God, what have I done?
Returning the LP wasn't an option. I couldn't remember exactly which stall I bought it from, and it's not like they'd have multiple copies in stock like regular record stores do. So I figured I'd just take the loss and keep an eye out for a replacement copy. Who knows? Maybe I'd run into it again someday. Still curious whether this production error had ever been filed anywhere, I consulted the online database Discogs, but found no trace of a misprint or mispress. I also have to admit, I was somewhat curious to hear what that Schlager album actually sounded like. So, cautiously, I placed the LP on my turntable. I dropped the needle, pressed play, and I remembered, we're only in it for the music. Oh wait, that comes at the end of this episode. When the music started playing, I thankfully heard the infectious drum pattern of Bombay, not Herzliche Grüße aus Bayern von Maria Hellwig. I breathed a sigh of relief. Not only did I now own a rather rare version of Contraband, the music was at least the correct one. Better to have an Earring album with Schlager labels than a Schlager album with Earring labels, if you know what I mean. To this day, I've never found any information about this misprint. Did someone at a German Polydor pressing plant in 1976 really mix up the labels, only to discover it after pressing just one copy? Or was the mistake discovered later, the faulty records destroyed, and is my Contraband perhaps the only surviving one? Yes, kids, these kinds of stories don't happen when you're streaming digital music. These quirks are part of collecting physical media like LPs and CDs. And it's exactly these absurdities that make collecting and listening to vinyl so much fun. I've never replaced my copy of Contraband. I still play the album regularly and with great joy. I never saw the Earring live. Their shows were always sold out. But the band from The Hague will, just like George Kooijmans, always have a place in my heart. To me, Golden Earring has always been there, and they always will be. After the announcement of Kooijmans' illness, the band decided to call it quits. No large farewell tour, no endless reunion shows, just quietly slipping out the back door. That's the Hague-level modesty, but that's also pure class. Thank you, Golden Earring, for 60 years of rock and roll. Thank you, Contraband, for a fantastic rock album full of underrated gems. But most of all, thank you, Mr. Kooijmans, for your incredible legacy of amazing music.
Well, George Kooijmans is gonna pour his heart out again.
Hold me because I think I'm falling, like rain on a Monday morning, and when it rains, I'm pouring my heart out again. Rock in peace, George. You are forever in our hearts. And that was not only the very first episode of Look What I've Found, but also the final episode of the so-called first round of all the different series. All 10 categories have now made their debut. So now I'm hitting you with a few questions. What do you think of Golden Earring? What do you think of Contraband? Or Schlager music? No, wait, no Schlager music. What do you think of George Kooijmans? Which episode or category did you enjoy the most? All types of videos and series will simply continue to appear regularly, but I'd love to know what category you've enjoyed the most so far. Listen to all the music featured on this channel via the Spotify playlist, and check out the social media pages on Facebook and Instagram, because I will follow you. If you follow me, you'll find all the links down below in the description. And click like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, so you never have to miss an episode. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. And in the meantime, play some Schlager. No, that's not it. What was it again? Oh yeah. In the meantime, drop the needle, press play, and remember, we're only in it for the music.